Good morning, and welcome to another Money Monday on the Daily Huddle. It's exciting to see these faces and all the things that we've got to look forward to. We're coming to you from not just around the country, but around the world this morning. So I'm glad to be able to do that. This technology still just blows my mind that we can all come together like this. So it's a great thing to do. I want to start out this morning, since it's the week of Thanksgiving, and I think we'll have a lot of this week. I know I've seen some of the topics coming for the next few days, and but I want to start out this morning with a little joke in the interest of our plant-based initiatives. What did the turkey say to the turkey hunter on Thanksgiving? Quack, quack.
I don't know that I get it. Explain this one.
Are you muted? That's great. So Kimberly says I need to explain my joke a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe it's just me. I've only had one cup of coffee, but
he wanted the turkey hunter to think he was a duck.
Yes, quack, quack. Yes.
Maybe that was a little too cheesy joke. I don't know.
Well, he's plant-based, so I wasn't quite sure what that.
Well, I'm talking about turkey hunting. We're talking about eating turkey. It's Thanksgiving.
I was really confused.
That's
Good morning,
terrible.
everybody. Welcome to the Daily Huddle on Monday morning with Zach's cheesy joke. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did, because it was fantastic and amazing. You want to talk about our question of the day?
Yeah, so we kind of had a riddle that we put out for the question of the day, and some of you may already know the answer to it if you've looked at that. But what is it that is very cheap to own? It helps you sleep so much better at night, but it costs your family a fortune if you don't buy it.
Right?
Let's think on that one.
Yeah.
So, and while we're thinking on that, let's talk to. It's funny because I want to ask everybody that's streaming. I want to pick on somebody that's out there, but I'm going to go with Chase on our first question. Chase, what time is it, and what are you grateful for?
The time is now, and I'm grateful for my father. I just spoke with him a few minutes ago, and wow, I have a really special father.
Wow. Thank you.
That's awesome. It's a blessing that you can speak to your father. So
Just now, right before everyone says that to me, and all due respect to people who don't have their parents. I have both of my parents, so I'm very, very, very fortunate.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. It's a great thing to be thankful for today.
All right, Gio, where are you, and who will you hug today?
Good morning. I am here, and I am going to hug my cousin today.
Awesome. Awesome. We talked about where here is earlier. So warm and cozy place down there. But thank you for joining us today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Laura, how are you today?
I am doing great. I'm warm inside. I'm great. I'm happy to be here with you all.
Outstanding. Well, it's good to see your face.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to the Daily Huddle today. And like we always say, you are exactly who you say or how you say you are, right? So
Yes.
we are glad you're warm, and we're glad you're happy, and glad that you're part of our tribe today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, today we're gonna answer that riddle. So Zach, just one more time before I get started, why don't you ask that question again, and then let's talk about our question of the day.
So our question is, what is it that is incredibly cheap to own? It helps you sleep better at night, but it costs your family a fortune if you don't buy it.
So I wish I had the drum roll thing. Like we got to really plan that out, right? I got to find those music. But ultimately, the answer to that question for a lot of us is life insurance, right? Let's talk about life insurance. For no one, I don't think it's a warm, fuzzy conversation that everybody wants to sit down and talk about that day way later. But I think planning for it definitely gives us the peace of mind and making sure that we know that once we plan for it, we're good and our family can be taken care of. So I'm going to share my screen really quick, and I'm going to just kind of go through with you guys some of the things that we think about and some of the things that we talk about when we're sitting down with families. And first of all, it's just the financial prioritization chart. And we look at this from the bottom up. So when we're starting our financial plan and we're starting working with families and talking about, what we do and who they are and how to make sure that everything is taken care of them, we obviously start at the bottom. We want that foundation, right? When we're building a house, we can't build it from the roof down. We got to build it from the ground up, right? So we want that foundation to be as solid as possible. And to do that, the very first tab that we look at is protecting. So protecting is defensive planning. We protect what we earn. We protect what we own. We protect what we owe. We protect those that we love, right? And then once we've done that basic planning and that basic foundation is in place, then we can talk about offensive planning. We can look at major purchases. We can look at emergencies. We can look at college education. We can look at retirement. But this is really the order that we want to talk about managing our financial risk. Aggressive planning, we prioritize our goals. We look at diversifying to reduce our risk, maximize qualified plan contributions, overpower inflation. Inflation is a big hot topic right now for all of us because we hear it in the news every day. So that means it's in our face. It means it's something we should pay attention to. And then we go to progressive planning, where we're passing along our assets, estate conservation, charitable giving, considering our tax efficiency and how do we actually pass this money properly, and then business continuation planning if you own a business, and then ultimately your needs. We all know that our needs are going to be down there all the way through, right? But maybe that should be kind of our wants, right, at the top of that. But in the beginning, we're looking at planning for potential financial security. And in the end, we're planning for our financial success. So if you want to talk about just kind of the basics of that foundation and what that looks like.
Yeah, I like to explain to people, and life insurance today is very different than it used to be. And I think Kimberly's going to hit on some of that in just a few minutes. And there are even reasons to have life insurance now that if you hadn't even thought that you needed it, even if you don't have a home or you don't have a family yet, there are good reasons to use that. But I've always used it as the cornerstone or the keystone, if you will, of a good financial plan. And I always tell people that you want your plan to be self-completing, right? We all want to be here for the plan's completion so that we can live our perfect retirement and travel around in our RV to our kids' house or whatever it is that you want to do. You want to be there for that.
Tour bus.
There you go. Not an RV. She's got different plans. But if you want your family, your loved ones to also be able to enjoy the fruits of that labor and that plan, even if you're not there, right? And so that's why we call it the foundation. We can literally, using life insurance, rent millions of dollars for pennies. It is literally what I call renting an estate, renting future wealth, renting security for, and how many people do you talk to that have cell phone insurance on their cell phone, but don't have it on themselves? And if they lost their cell phone tomorrow, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Well, it might be. We've heard some things from folks we've talked to about how addicted we are to those devices, but it is still the foundation. And it's not that expensive for that peace of mind, and also to make sure that plan that you're putting together is self-completing.
So I want to talk to you guys now about how do we know how much life insurance you need? What does that look like? And I think it's a really important question, because we'll get phone calls all the time and they're like, Kimberly, I need to buy some life insurance. I need $250,000. Okay, well, how'd you come up with that number? I don't know. I mean, I just thought that sounded like a lot of money. Like it sounded like the good number, right? I need $500,000. $500,000 is a lot of money. is that actually what you need when you're looking at life insurance? How do you decide how much life insurance you need? So in our industry, we call it the DIME method. DIME stands for debt, income, mortgage, and education. So we literally just add those pieces together and we come up with how much life insurance that we need. So I'm going to show you this example on the next page. So life insurance obviously protects your insurability as well. We can talk about that in a few minutes. But if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, the DIME method, here's an example of a client. Debt. They have $75,000 in debt, credit cards, auto loans, student loans, anything that you can think of as debt outside of your mortgage goes into that column. So they owe $75,000. Their income, they need $750,000. This is the piece that I think gets tricky. So in this example, if you look at this, it shows $50,000 per year is how much this particular client makes, and we're replacing their income for 15 years. This is where I think the number gets skewed for people, and they try to decide how much life insurance they actually need, and they can't make that determination. So typically, rule of thumb in the industry is 10 years income replacement. So if I make $50,000 a year, then I'm going to need 50 times 10, right, is $500,000 of life insurance to protect my income so my family's life doesn't have to change for the next 10 years, right? So they can live exactly as if they're living today, and our plans are self-completing and our goals are self-completing for our kids and the rest of our family. But in this example, you see that it's 15 years. How do you make that determination? When do you look at that? Well, if I have a young child that's maybe 5 years old, 6 years old, if I want to make sure that child is protected all the way through college and our family stays the same through that point, right? Then I might look at 15 years, because in 15 years, my 6-year-old is now 21. So that's your variable on this life insurance numbers. How long do you actually want to make sure that your family is taken care of without having to change their quality of life? And we'll talk. So that's another piece I think to talk about is if something were to happen to Zack tomorrow, we'd all be devastated, right? For sure, be devastated. But for me to have to stop everything that we're doing on a daily basis and go out and get a job to replace his income, not only are we emotionally devastated, but we're financially devastated too, and our entire life changes. So we have to think about how long do we want that to last for our children and for our spouses, and how long do we want that level of normalcy, even though it will never be normal again, to be in place. So that's income. Then we look at mortgage. Mortgage, how much do you owe on your house? How much do you owe on your mortgage? This particular client owes $275,000 on their current mortgage. And then education. How many children do you have? How long do you want to plan for their college education? And what does that look like? This one is a little high in this particular example. It says $60,000 a year for a 4-year school for 2 children. And maybe if it's for 2 children, I haven't actually looked at this math to tell you if that's correct in this example, but I can tell you we have 4 kids. Our oldest is 22 and just graduated, so she's off the payroll, right?
That's a job.
And then we've got one that's still in college, and then we have 2 that are high school and middle school age. But college education is a big deal. It's a lot of money and it's really expensive. So planning for that in your life insurance, just in case, is an important plan. So if you add up for this client, debt, income, mortgage, and education, this particular client needs $1.5 million in life insurance. Most of the time, people would come to you and say, I need $250,000. I need $500,000. I need 5 times my income. And there is all of that is valuable, right? All of that is credible. My goal when I sit down with families is to show them their need. My goal when I sit down with families is to teach them what that actually should look like and talk through, why do you want life insurance? How long do you want this to last? And then it's their job, obviously, once we put some numbers to that, it's their job to say, that makes sense to me, this is what I want, or that's a little uncomfortable, let's go down. Anything is better than nothing, right? Anything is better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of it's a topic that's kind of this side of life insurance about why do you need it and why it's not one of those things that people say, you know what, I want that. I want to run out and get it. It's not the new toy. It's not the new car. It's not the thing that motivates you to go do those things. But we've been in this industry for a while, and we have experience on both sides of this coin where we thought that talking to somebody about their life insurance needs might, they might think we were trying to sell them something, or we didn't. I mean, we were friends and we didn't want to cross that line, or whatever that scenario is. I think that everybody in every family should be wide open about what they've got, what they're doing, what needs to happen if something happens to somebody. Have you guys heard of a website called GoFundMe? Anybody seen those? There's a ridiculous percentage. I won't make up a number, but there's a ridiculous percentage of GoFundMe accounts that are going on right now that are because someone was unprepared for an untimely death or a sudden death of a family member or a loved one. And I feel like that we need to just make that a mission to not have that happen, right? It's just a big deal to make sure that families are taken care of in that event, because the last thing we want people to do is to be, like Kimberly said, emotionally devastated, which they will be, but also be financially devastated at that point in time. I think about families having to sell the home that the kids are living in and possibly even move to a different school district because they can't afford to stay where they are. All those things, that the domino effect that comes down the hill from that. But also, and I think this is the transition Kimberly's going to make here in just a second, is
You can make it
that
if I can click it.
life insurance is not like it used to be. The number one cause of bankruptcy in our country still to this day is medical bills.
It's a medical diagnosis.
Is a diagnosis, right? And healthcare is getting better, right? So we live longer and we survive things that would have normally caused someone to pass away. So that being said, you might get sick. You might have to reach through all of those hard-earned savings that you've been putting away systematically, spend them all down, and then when you're better on the backside, years to go in life, and now you've spent through what you were going to live that perfect retirement with. Or even worse, you've spent through all that and you've lost other things that because you couldn't pay those payments. So we now have accelerated living benefits on everything that we use. And most of your major insurance carriers have these things. But basically, it's a rider that's included that allows you to reach in and access even on term insurance, guys. I'm not talking about expensive whole life policies or the things that you've heard about in the past. This is on term insurance. So basically, I can reach in if I have a $750,000 term policy and I get a diagnosis or I have a heart attack, something like that, based on the severity of how the doctor writes that up. And different insurance companies have different rules, and they're all right there as you look at them. So I would advise taking a look at that and how they work when you do that with your professional. But if you get sick, instead of having to reach into your retirement account to pay what your insurance doesn't cover, or if you don't have insurance and you have to reach in directly and pay for all of it, you can reach into the death benefit portion of your insurance and get that tax-free right now to pay those bills, so that again, even in a devastating time emotionally where someone's sick or they've had a heart attack or a stroke, or they've gotten a diagnosis that they just prayed they'd never get before, it gives them the money to fight that and to stay emotionally strong. You can take that money and go get alternative treatments somewhere else and go and seek those things that your medical insurance company might not be up on, or there's so many things about that system that I'm not going to go into right now. But I will say we have a lot of exciting things to talk about in the near future. And one of them is going to be how to pay for college. Kimberly hit on that. So we're going to be hitting that topic and bringing some special guests on to talk about structuring retirement savings for the benefit of your kids and what to do with that. But let's finish with the life insurance conversation, and just know that you're going into the holidays and you don't want to have these kind of conversations, but you want to while you're at the Thanksgiving table, right? But look around and ask yourself, have I had the proper conversations with the people that I care about? And have I done what I need to do to take care of the people that would be burdened if something happened to me? So it's not a fun conversation, but it can be. And there's a lot of good things about it.
I think it's a peace of mind conversation. I think it's a grown-up conversation, right? Like, we're all grown-ups. It's time to have grown-up conversations, and we can have like tiny little grown-up conversations and then go back and have fun and talk about that later. But I do think it's important. We have some big success stories. Zach's aunt was one of, maybe not all grown-ups, Gia, you're right. but we can pretend for just a second, right? Like it's important for a minute to pretend like we're grown-ups. But Zach's aunt is a success story, and she passed away this current year. But she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had one of these living benefit policies. She was able to reach in and access a really large portion of that death benefit. And she always, marched to the beat of her own drummer. She was going to do it her way, always, every single time. And she did. And she lived for almost 5 years, seeking out alternative treatments and alternative healthcare and everything, because that's what she wanted to do. But without that death benefit that she actually used as a living benefit, she never would have had the financial means to make those choices for herself. So life is all about choices. Life is all about education. It's all about, opportunities to make ourselves better and to understand what our options are. So this is just the base. We can talk about the fun, exciting things later, but this is such a huge priority and such a huge foundation. And if nobody's ever asked you if you have life insurance, I'm asking you now. So if you don't have life insurance, reach out to us. We're happy to teach you. We're happy to talk you through it. We're happy to educate you. And of course, we'd love to help you. But if you need to go buy it from your brother, go do that too. But at minimum, just make sure that you're taken care of. And before I open this to questions, the other piece that I want to talk about is life insurance through work. And I'm going to say it really, really quickly, but a lot of us have the opportunity to have life insurance through work, and it is better than nothing. So if you're uninsurable or you can't have life insurance outside of work, at least get it through work. But a couple of things to understand and a couple of things to know about that. I think you should also always have policies outside of work. Life insurance through work is called annual renewable term. They call it ART. What does that mean? That means that when we're young, it's super cheap. When we get older, it gets a lot more expensive because it changes every single year. A term policy is similar to that, but you lock that premium literally for 10, 20, 30 years, right? At work, every single year you get older, it gets more expensive. So a lot of people think they have this really cheap term insurance because they got it when they were 25 at their job, but they never looked at it again. And as they're older, they could get a policy outside of work that is a lot cheaper. The other thing is just controlling your circumstances. Life insurance through work means that you have to be employed there. If you get sick, fortunately or unfortunately, if you get sick, a lot of times, especially if it's a bad sickness, you lose your job because you can't show up. If you lose your job, you lose your benefits. Your life insurance goes away, and now you're uninsurable. So I don't want to be a downer. Zach's laughing at me, but it is important to understand. It is important to understand all these different pieces because nobody tells you, nobody talks to you about it, nobody teaches you. So with that being said, I'm going to close my mouth and I'm going to open it up to questions, and we'll go from there. Any questions we had this morning with my bright, happy Monday topic?
Good morning again.
Good morning.
So I have term life, and I would love to switch, but I would love to speak to you.
Okay.
So please post your information so I can get in touch. Thank you.
Sure. So I'm going to put my email in the chat, and then I'm also going to put my cell phone number in the chat. So you guys can call me, text me, email me, whatever makes most sense to you. And it's important for you guys to know, and thanks for bringing this up, Laura, but we don't charge for our conversations. We don't charge people to meet with us, ask questions. Obviously we would love to have all of your business, but even if it's just financial education for you, that's our goal first and foremost, is to make sure that you guys are all taken care of, and however that works itself out, I believe it'll work itself out. So, but yes, reach out to us. Happy to help with any questions that you have, and we can see what makes sense. Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a
can talk about
question.
life insurance all day.
Tara?
Hi, my meeting ended early, so I got to pop in here. And you may have covered this, but as you saw, I was quite late. I think I know the answer, but I would just like some reassurance. When you get life insurance, the kind that I have, that I got from y'all.
Thanks for that plug, Tara.
Yeah. I know that, and it gives me massive peace of mind, because I think I'm an entrepreneur, and if I were to get sick, my income would go away because I couldn't work. What I wonder is, would I be able to dip into it only if I was completely unable, like, to access other funds? Like, do I have to be flat broke to dip into it? Or are they going to say, just because you have such and such stocked away for retirement, if you're in, like, how do they decide that you qualify?
Yeah, so it's not like a government disability or something where you have to be liquidated of all of your funds that you have personally, because you made the choice to make that purchase. And the U.S. government is still very favorable to the life insurance proceeds. And the idea behind that is, back in the World War II, they didn't want to take care of a bunch of widows and orphans. That was the conversation. So they get tax advantages and everything to life insurance and premiums that are paid, and also to the death benefit or the living benefits in that case that come out of it. So it is a tax related question sometimes based on how it's used and what happens when you actually pass away. But that you can reach in and get into that and take care of yourself without any addressing of any other assets that you have. That's the beauty
behind it. That's the design of it, right? Is if you have a qualifying diagnosis, you qualify. You can reach in and have whatever your diagnosis says that you qualify, what percentage, you can reach in and access that lump sum. And you can take a trip around the world. Nobody cares what you do with it because you qualified for it. And that's the beauty behind life insurance and the power of having the ability to make those own decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. I thought they looked at, like, here's what you were getting each month. Now it's gone away due to your illness. Wow, that's
every penny
more
of it.
comforting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Chase, you have a question?
Yes. Excuse me. I noticed in the last couple of years this surge as it relates to the information on infinite banking, which is directly connected to what you're saying in a sense. And I've been researching it. I do have a few policies that I purchased a little while ago. And I just wanted to know what your take was on infinite banking, and have you exercised those particular
So I think that I think you make a great point. I think Gio makes a great point. Lots of different life insurance policies out there in the world. We're talking about just conceptually life insurance in general and the need for life insurance today. Infinite banking is very sexy, right? Like, it's exciting. It is fun. You go to TikTok and everybody's talking about it, right? Like it's exciting. But there are caveats to when it works and when it doesn't work. We absolutely believe that life insurance is an excellent way to save money, assuming you qualify, assuming that the cost of insurance is reasonable for your situation. If you're sick, if you're older, you can't afford to fund it, that doesn't make sense, right? So we talk through all of those different conversations, and we will talk going forward. We'll have conversations about infinite banking. We'll have conversations about different types of life insurance, whether it's term or whole life or index universal life or long-term care. We'll have all of those conversations because I think all of those topics are super important. And I think we see them in our face every single day. But today I just wanted to be, life insurance is necessary. Insurance is important. Life insurance is responsible. It is grown up, even if we don't want to be grown up. It is that basis of our foundation. But then when we talk about wealth planning and you know, the sexy fun, you know, Pandora's box kind of money, life insurance is a very valuable and valid conversation.
Yeah, and I would encourage you guys to, if you want us to spend an entire episode on something, right, then reach out, send that in a chat or ask a question, and we'll see about diving into it in a big way here if it seems to fit with the general goings on. But we can also talk to you directly about your questions, you know, offline and get those answered. So concepts are great. And most life insurance companies don't build products that don't have a good marketplace or that don't fit somewhere. The problem really comes in when an agent misrepresents or sells a policy in a way that it shouldn't be, and sometimes that's calculated and sometimes it's just ignorance. They don't understand what they're doing. So I would agree with Gio. Not all life insurance is equal, and not all life insurance serves the same purpose. It is all built on a life insurance chassis, which allows you to take advantage of tax savings and tax benefits. So
All life insurance is a death benefit.
yes, you are basically, and that's the number one. You are buying life insurance to protect you against a tragedy. If you use it in other ways, then go for it, right? If it works, then use it creatively. So, yeah.
So
We'll
yeah,
talk about
lots
that
of
too.
lots of fun conversations when we get past the basics and we get into the actual planning and all of these. And anyway, lots of fun. So with that being said, I want to say thank you to all of you guys for joining us today on Money Monday to talk about life insurance. See, it wasn't as painful as people kind of make it out to be, right? It can be exciting. But we hope you guys have a wonderful week, a wonderful Thanksgiving with all of your friends and your family and whoever you guys are around, and hug them all, right? Because that matters and it's important to do that. But we're going to wrap up today with our 8 tenets. So first and foremost, love. Like, this is the week of Thanksgiving. This is the week of love and sharing it with everyone that we know. Laugh out loud. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy your family. Like, be with them this weekend. Stress less. This is the week of thankfulness, right? So if anything, we should be thinking about how to be thankful and stressing less. Eat mostly plant-based. You can have cheesy jokes like Zach did earlier that has nothing with plant-based turkey. You'll have to go listen to that, Tara. It made 0 sense, but it was a joke. Give to everyone. Give to everything. Sleep. You probably have a few days off, so take advantage of that. Move your body, be out there with your friends, dance like Gia's dancing. And most importantly, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Don't let those relatives get in there and make you crazy, right? So check yourself before you wreck yourself. But good to see all of you guys today. Hope you have a fantastic week and a fantastic holidays with your family, and we'll see you on next Monday. And everybody else, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Next week. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Odeys. Good to see you. Happy
Good to see
Thanksgiving.
you too.